You can't stop thinking about it. The problem, the situation, the thing that keeps you up at night and follows you through the day, the uncertainty that gnaws at you every quiet moment. You've turned it over in your mind 1,000 times, analyzed every angle, considered every possible outcome, played out every scenario, most of them bad, and still nothing's resolved. Nothing's changed. Nothing's better. So you keep worrying, keep thinking, keep trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to fix this, how you're supposed to make it all work out. You pray about it. Of course you pray about it. You've prayed about it more times than you can count. God, please help me with this. Please show me what to do. Please make a way. Please fix this. And then you go right back to worrying. Right back to trying to solve it on your own. Right back to carrying the weight of something you were never meant to carry alone. Because somewhere deep down, you don't really believe God is handling it. You believe he could. You believe he's capable. But you don't believe he actually is. Not right now. Not in the specific situation that feels so urgent, so overwhelming, so completely beyond your control. So you keep trying to control it. Keep worrying about it. Keep exhausting yourself with thoughts that go nowhere and fears that change nothing. And all the while, God is working. Not later, not eventually. Right now, in ways you can't see, in places you're not looking, through circumstances you don't understand yet. He's already doing something, and your worry isn't helping. It's just keeping you from seeing what he's already set in motion. Here's what worry really is. What it does to you when you let it take over. It's not concern. It's not care. It's not being responsible about your problems. Worry is the illusion that if you think about something hard enough, long enough, anxiously enough, you'll somehow gain control over it. But you won't. You can't. Because most of what you're worrying about is completely outside your control. You can't control other people's choices. You can't control circumstances. You can't control timing. You can't control outcomes. And yet you keep trying, keep thinking, keep spinning your mental wheels, convinced that if you just worry hard enough, you'll figure out the answer. But worry doesn't lead to answers. It leads to exhaustion, anxiety, paralysis. It keeps you stuck in your head, obsessing over problems instead of trusting the God who's already working on solutions. Think about what happens when you're consumed by worry. When it's the first thing on your mind in the morning and the last thing before you sleep. You're not present. Not really. You're physically here, but mentally you're somewhere else. Somewhere in the future, in some imagined crisis that hasn't happened yet and might never happen. You're with your family, but you're not with them. You're thinking about the problem. You're at work, but you're not focused. You're thinking about the problem. You're in church. You're reading your Bible, you're trying to pray, but you're not really there. You're thinking about the problem. The problem has become your God, the thing you give your constant attention to, the thing that occupies your thoughts more than anything else, more than God himself. And that's exactly what worry does. It displaces trust with anxiety. It replaces faith with fear. It turns your attention away from God and fixes it on the problem. And as long as you're fixated on the problem, you can't see what God is doing about it. Because God doesn't usually work the way you expect. He doesn't solve things according to your timeline or your plan or your preferred method. He works in his way, in his timing, through circumstances and people and moments you never would have orchestrated on your own. But you're so busy worrying, so focused on how you think it should be fixed, that you miss what he's actually doing. You miss the small provision, the unexpected conversation, the door that opened when you weren't looking, the shift in circumstances that seemed like nothing at the time, but was actually everything. You miss it because you're not watching for it. You're too busy catastrophizing about what might go wrong to notice what's already going right. Here's the truth you need to hear. The truth that cuts through all the worry and all the fear and all the endless mental spinning. God is not waiting for you to figure out before he acts. He's not sitting back, watching you struggle, waiting for you to come up with a perfect plan before he steps in. He's already at work, right now, in this moment, even before you brought it to him in prayer. He saw it coming before you did. He knew what you'd need before you needed it. He's already setting things in motion that you won't see for days, weeks, maybe months. But he's working, and your worry doesn't speed that up. It doesn't help. It doesn't contribute anything except stress to your body and distance from your soul. Because worry is fundamentally about control, and control is fundamentally about trust. When you worry, what you're really saying is, I don't trust God to handle this. I don't trust his timing. I don't trust his methods. I don't trust that he knows what he's doing. Not consciously. You'd never say those words out loud. You deny them if someone accused you of it. But your actions tell a different story. If you really trusted God, you wouldn't be lying awake at night, running through worst-case scenarios. If you really trusted God, you wouldn't be obsessively checking for updates, looking for signs, trying to force something to happen. If you really trusted God, you'd bring it to him in prayer, and then you'd leave it there. You'd rest. You'd trust that he heard you, that he cares, and that he's already doing what needs to be done. But you can't do that, can you? You can't leave it with him. You take it back. Every single time. You pray, and then you pick it right back up and start carrying it again. Start worrying again. Start trying to figure out on your own again. Like God needs your help. Like he's waiting for you to solve it before he can act. But he's not. He's already acting. And you're missing it because you're too busy worrying. Here's what most people don't understand about God's work. How he operates. How he moves in your life. He's not reactive. He's proactive. He doesn't wait for you to pray before he starts working. He's already working. Your prayer doesn't activate him. It aligns you with what he's already doing. He's already orchestrating, already providing, already making a way where there seems to be no way. And when you finally see the outcome, when you finally see how it all came together, you'll look back and realize God was working the whole time, even when you couldn't see it, even when it looked like nothing was happening, even when you were convinced it was all falling apart. He was weaving threads you didn't know existed, moving pieces you couldn't see, working through people and circumstances, and timing in ways that only make sense in hindsight. But in the moment, when you're in the middle of it, when you can't see the outcome yet, it feels like nothing's happening, like you're on your own, like you have to figure it out yourself, or it won't get done. And that's when the worry takes over. But what if you're wrong? What if the stillness, the waiting, the apparent lack of movement isn't God's absence but God's work? What if he's doing more in the invisible than you could ever accomplish in the visible? What if your job isn't to figure out, but to trust while he works it out? That's the shift. That's what breaks the cycle of worry. Not trying harder to trust. Not forcing yourself to stop thinking about it. Not pretending the problem doesn't exist. But choosing to believe, even when you can't see it, that God is already doing something. Not eventually, not someday, right now. And your worry, your anxiety, your constant mental spinning, it's not helping. It's not productive. It's not making anything better. It's just noise. Noise that drowns out your ability to see what God is doing, to hear what he's saying, to rest in the truth that he's got this, even when you don't. So what do you do with the worry? With the fear? With the problem that won't stop demanding your attention? You bring it to God, honestly, fully, without pretense. You tell him exactly what you're afraid of, what's keeping you up at night, what feels impossible, overwhelming, completely beyond your control. And then you leave it there, not because the problem disappears. It doesn't, not immediately, but because God is already working on it. And you carrying it, worrying about it, trying to control it, that doesn't help him. It just hurts you. This is where most people get stuck. They want to trust God, but they don't know how to stop worrying. They think trust is a feeling, something you either have or you don't. But trust isn't feeling. It's a choice. It's choosing to believe God is working even when you can't see evidence of it. It's choosing to rest even when the problem isn't solved yet. It's choosing to focus on what you know about God, his faithfulness, his goodness, his power, instead of what you don't know about your situation. And every time the worry creeps back in, every time your mind starts spinning again, you make the choice again. Not once, over and over, as many times as it takes. You redirect your thoughts. You speak truth to yourself. You remind yourself of what God has already done. how he's already provided, how he's already come through in the past. And slowly, gradually, the worry loses its grip, not because the problem is solved, but because you stop letting the problem define your reality. God is your reality, his faithfulness, his presence, his work in your life that's happening right now, whether you see it or not. And when you anchor yourself to that reality instead of the reality of your worry, everything shifts. The problem is still there. The uncertainty is still there. But the crushing weight of it, that starts to lift. Because you're not carrying it alone anymore. You're not trying to figure out on your own anymore. You've finally, truly, given it to God. And you're trusting that he's doing what he's always done. Working, providing, making a way, even when you can't see it yet. Here's what happens when you finally let go of the worry. When you stop trying to control what you were never meant to control, you start to notice things, small things, things you would have missed before because you were too consumed with the big problem to see the small provisions. A conversation that gives you unexpected peace, a door that opens at just the right time, a shift in circumstances that seem random but turns out to be exactly what you needed. You start to see God's fingerprints all over your situation, not in some big, dramatic intervention, but in the quiet, steady, persistent way he's been working all along. And you realize he was never absent. You were just too worried to notice his presence. He was never silent. You were just too anxious to hear his voice. He was never inactive. You were just too focused on the problem to see his provision. And now that you finally stopped trying to do his job, you can see him doing it. Not your way, his way, not your timing. His timing, not through the methods you would have chosen, but through the perfect, sovereign, infinitely wise plan he's been executing since before you even knew you had this problem. This is what it means to trust God, really trust him, not to have all the answers, not to understand how it's all going to work out, not to be free from problems or uncertainty or things beyond your control, but to believe in the middle of it all that God is already doing something good, something perfect, something that's going to work out better than anything you could have orchestrated on your own, and to rest in that, to let that be enough, even when you don't see it yet, because one day you will. One day you'll look back and see the whole picture. You'll see how every piece fit together, how every delay had a purpose, how every closed door led to a better one opening. You'll see that God was never late. He was right on time, every single time. And you'll wish you'd spent less time worrying and more time trusting, less time trying to control, and more time watching him work. So stop right now. Stop trying to carry what you were never meant to carry. Stop worrying about what God is already handling. Stop exhausting yourself with thoughts that go nowhere and fears that change nothing. And just trust. Trust that the God who sees you, who knows you, who loves you more than you can comprehend, that God is already doing something for you, right now, whether you see it or not.